Indiana taking on Army on Sunday, and that is not expected to be much of a test, but we can see hopefully some improvement between the guys. CJ Gunn and Caleb Banks were also mentioned by Mike Woodson that they have to get their defense in order because they're part of that second unit, especially CJ with Gabe Cupps and CJ Gunn out there. You'd like to see those guys be able to come out and continue whatever Indiana has going in a game. I'm sure that's the hopes of Mike Woodson, and just CJ's just looks like he's just still looking to settle in a little bit.
Yeah, the game needs to slow down. I feel like it did for Malik. And so, these other sophomores have to find that balance. Of course, Caleb Banks was a little bit slowed in the preseason there, but hopefully, some of these more tune-up games give them a chance to not only figure out and things of that nature, but to build some confidence. I know a lot of fans will, like to be the naysayers if they win big, and they'll say it's not really an opponent, but it's still an incredibly important couple games here to build confidence, see the ball go through, learn each other, learn how to communicate, not have so many defensive breakdowns, and build that confidence for the tougher opponents that are coming soon.
Absolutely, and they will be coming soon, like we talked about. The schedule not far. UConn is what, a week from Monday? Is that right?
Sounds right.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I'm John
it's
Boy.
On Sunday. It's a week from Sunday.
A week from this Sunday. So it's not that well, as far as the schedule goes, that's not that far away. You're only gonna play
games.
3 games before that?
2, I believe. Army and Wright State.
Well, 2 more. So they'll have 3 games total under their belt before they take on the reigning national champion, who is playing very well already. They are kind of playing like they didn't miss a beat. So Indiana is going to have to get things together quickly, but we've seen teams do that, especially when it is up against a higher profile opponent. A lot of times that's when you see guys rise to the top. It just, whatever it is, they get that competitive boost, and hopefully that happens as well. But Kellel Ware, I'm just looking forward to that matchup with him in that game. It's going to be fun. I know it's 3 games away, but he is just it's going to be very intriguing what he can do for the Hoosiers this year.
Yeah, and as I wrote about, Ware and Mbako are the meal tickets. So there's going to be a lot of, talk about other players and, strategy and what the team's trying to do. But those 2 guys are the guys that have to be the ones that step up and carry the load most nights. I mentioned in a tweet, Hood Schifino had like 18 points in his first 3 career games, had some struggles. So let's not draw any huge conclusions about Mbako's first game. There's plenty of time, but it's kind of in general for the team. Everybody wants to draw these big conclusions, win or lose, good or bad, for early in the year. But how many times have you and I seen it over the years where they may struggle against a lower opponent, and then somebody comes into Assembly Hall ranked in the top 5, and Indiana knocks them out, and the place is going wild. More so than ever before, college basketball is kind of its own thing every single game. Like every game is its own chapter in a big book, and it's not like this kind of linear thing that it used to be. Every night's different. So hopefully this team will come together sooner than later, and again, for those big tests that are coming.
Yeah, I talked about Mackenzie Mbako spending most of the second half on the bench, but I think that was probably a great learning experience for him because you can see what's going on. You can be and you have the coaching staff in your ears talking about, hey, see that right there, see this rotation, see that, and this is what you need to do. Here's where we need you to go. This is the switch we need you to make. There's a lot of teaching that can be done there. Now, you can't do that against UConn. You can't do that against Kansas because they need you in the game. But early on. You don't want to see him on the bench much, but that hopefully was a great learning experience for Mackenzie Mbako.
Yeah, and as that comment from Andy, he was very engaged on the bench and was the first one off the bench at the end. So, I was definitely paying attention to that to see if he was kind of sulking with the less playing time, but he wasn't at all. He was really engaged. And so, the couple things, as you mentioned, you can learn so much. One of the things you can also learn is if you're not playing well, it doesn't matter what kind of rating you had or the hype around you. We need production. So there's that. But also the learning to see it all happen. And I just love the fact that he was engaged and, the first one off the bench when the horn sounded for the win.
So Indiana has a few more games coming up before the schedule gets real, and that's exactly what they need. But they had the talent. Everybody is in love with Gabe Cupps, and with good reason. He played better than you should be able to expect him to play, to be honest with you. He played like a coach's son. He played like a veteran. He is not – the moment's not too big for him. The game's not too fast for him. And even if there's a slight difference there, I don't think it's going to take him any time at all to get caught up on that. He is just – and everyone – I've seen so many people, how long before he's in the starting lineup? Not going to happen. But it's not going to happen because – in essence, then you're bringing in a starter off the bench. So that way you're always having that caliber of a player out there. So, and then Indiana going with that 3-guard lineup, if you will, that was probably the best offense they had all night.
Yeah. Huge fan of Cupps. That's, I mentioned also on the site when everybody was upset about losing Flan, which I know is a big loss. There was some hype about possibly getting him. And I'm thinking they got a guy that's probably going to be here 4 years that is fully capable. And by then he'll be a sophomore and possibly ready to take the reins of the starting lineup. But whatever they add recruiting wise or in the portal, hopefully Cupps is here for all those years. He's got a chance. I mean, you can see it even in the preseason. He's got a chance to be one of those, Hoosier legends that's here. And, not to put too much pressure on the kid, but you can just see the way he plays. And as you mentioned, no moment's going to be too big. Some of the comments I've seen is he going to be able to handle some of the more physical play in the Big Ten, some of the more physical guards? I think he's going to be fine. He's incredibly smart. He's been tested a lot already in his basketball career up through high school and now. So Hoosiers have a good one. And again, even if he is a 6-man, he could play starters minutes most nights. So that's a luxury.